how I feel now, I don't see any reason to slow down anytime soon. I've been knocked down enough times, and as long as it works for the character, the fans are still emotionally invested, and that's all that matters, because silence is death.
How is Cody Rhodes the champion right now?
They're always screwing Drew McIntyre.
This seems to be an ongoing thing over the last 2-ish years.
2-ish? At least 4 years.
How's that make you feel? What did this most recent championship win mean to you?
Awesome. I got to walk out in Glasgow with the title for the first time as champion.
You go into this match with CM Punk and create something different.
I knew there was no limit. He knew there was no limit.
The spot with the steel steps is scary to watch.
I can understand why people would think that's a career ender, but I wanted something memorable.
You were the first person to ever kick out of Baron Corbin's End of Days.
The only person. At WrestleMania, no less. Won the match, went on to fight Roman in the first stadium PLE in the UK since SummerSlam 92.
You should have won that match.
Yeah, what a moment it would have been. Would we be here now? Probably not. McIntyre's back on track of where we need to be, which inevitably is going to lead to.
We all know that WrestleMania is legendary, but with Priority Pass by On Location, you get closer than ever to every unforgettable moment. From VIP pre-show parties, to meeting your favorite superstars, to stepping into the iconic ring for a photo like I did here. Plus exclusive gifting and full WWE World Access. Every detail is crafted to make your WrestleMania weekend truly next level. This is the premium experience reserved for Priority Pass members only, where you don't just watch the action, you live it, closer than ever. Don't miss out. Visit onlocationexp.com/WWE to purchase your package now. That's onlocationexp.com/WWE.
What's the Starbucks order?
The Starbucks order today is a little nitro cold brew with almond milk.
Did they spell your name right?
I went through the drive-thru this time. Generally, they spell it wrong. And
how can you spell Drew wrong?
Well, I don't get drooping on it usually.
Oh.
Yeah. I've usually got, well, one, I don't usually go in the store, but it's usually Uber Eats if I'm on the road, at the hotel, or even at home if I'm being lazy. I got a little gimmick name. I'll say as much as John is the first name. I'm not going to give away the last name because people might figure out.
It's John Snow.
No, it's not. But no, I got a little gimmick name on there, which is, difficult if I'm real tired and order breakfast and they walk up to the counter and start saying, no, that's his name, and we don't have anybody by that name. Then they're leaving the hotel and I'm running out. I go, no, that's me. I'm John. Insert name.
John's the takeout name.
Yeah, Sheamus got me onto these, but he actually got me onto nitro cold brew with is it vanilla sweet cream? And I got real addicted to it. And then he got me on crumble cookie when I first moved here as well.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, he doesn't like having anything sweet unless someone does it with him. And I feel like it would have been easier to get off, drugs than it was to get off of crumble cookie.
Is that are sweets your thing?
No, not at all. Like, not even the slightest. Like, we used to travel the roads together years ago, Sheamus and I. For years. Every night he wanted like an ice cream cookie or something, but he had to, you'll have one, lad. You'll have one. I was like, no, I don't really have a sweet tooth. No, you'll have one. And then suddenly I was eating them like 3-4 days a week without a sweet tooth because I miss Real's company.
You look like you've taken it up a level with your fitness recently. What's been the biggest change?
About 9 months ago, roughly 9 months ago, I just decided I had 5 weeks off. It was the first 5 weeks off I've ever really had in my life. I came straight from school to WWE to being released to back on the road a few weeks later, where I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not injured. I'm not doing rehab. I've actually got this time off, and let's have an honest look at myself, especially approaching 40. I've been wrestling 25 years. Everyone thinks I'm, as old as Punk or something, but I'm not. Old man. But honestly, I looked myself in the mirror and said, what's going on with you? Let's take some inventory here. It's okay, you good shape, one of the best built guys in WWE, that's cool. But things are starting to catch up, things are hurting. Is there anything you can do about that? And you've never really followed a diet. I was still eating burgers all the time, pizza all the time, sometimes eating 2 times a day, sometimes eating 8 times a day. And I decided to get a trainer who actively came to my garage and worked with me and helped me out with training and diet. And the big thing, mobility, which I've never done proper mobility work. I worked with Rob McIntyre for years. He's phenomenal, but he was sending my workouts, especially when I moved to Nashville 5 years ago, and it was a lot more difficult not working one-on-one with him and having this new trainer, Jeff, you're welcome, coming to the garage and pushing me. He's about 5 foot tall, about 5 foot wide.
He's jacked.
Yeah, very angry little man. But he was pushing me through my paces, but the big difference was the mobility work. I couldn't throw a super kick. Not that I wanted to, because everybody and their mother throws a super kick these days. But I'd love to be able to and have the choice to do it. But my hips were so tight, it just wasn't physically possible. Things were locking up. I was aware, oh my goodness, maybe you're closer to the end than the beginning, not just because of your age, but because of how my body felt. And going through all this mobility work, the new diet, which reduced inflammation dramatically, I not only saw, a difference in how I looked on screen, but how I felt overall. And I was throwing head kicks the size. I could literally kick almost in the face right now. And I feel better now than I did at legitimately 30 years old.
Did you ever have trouble with the Claymore? Like that required?
No, my hamstrings were always good, which thankful I am. I was never any issues with the Claymore. It's so explosive. And I'm so stubborn. I would tear something or injure myself just to be able to do it effectively and make it look good. But no, now I've never felt so good. And at 30 might even be exaggerated, maybe 28. Like I ran myself so hard since I came to America in every which way, especially, drinking in the nights out and the likes, then my body was feeling it in a big way and I wasn't stretching on a regular basis, not hydrating, and my inflammation must have been off the charts considering the diet I had and what I know now.
So what is it? It's range of motion, it's more stretching?
It's more active stretching and these things I'd never heard of called cars. So all the boys and girls out there, if you've not heard of cars, it's just basically creating space in the joint. With the hips, with the shoulders, you can do it with anything, the hands, the fingers can probably do it, the shoulders. But for me specifically, the biggest difference maker was in the hips, the knees, and the shoulders. I never really thought to stretch my shoulders. I would spend 20 minutes in the gym just holding stretches, made zero difference whatsoever. But now doing some active stretching and some prehab instead of rehab, like when I tore my bicep, for example, when I had rehab, I was doing things to strengthen up the knees, strengthen up the shoulders, and these cars creating space in the joints and movements I might actually do in the ring. And I just could not believe how good I felt as the months started passing by.
Like you said, you turned 40 last year. Do you think about how much longer you want to do this?
Yeah, I know my wife feels like it's going to be a lot shorter than I probably feel it's going to be, especially with how I feel now and how creatively fulfilled I feel these days. But as long as I'm happy, as long as she's happy, and as long as the fans are happy with what I'm doing, I don't see any reason to slow down anytime soon, especially when I see guys, getting up there in age right now and moving as well as they're moving right now, because we've just moved so far forward with athletes. Look at LeBron James or Ronaldo, for example, the same age as me, and they're just still at the top of their game.
So creatively fulfilled at work right now?
Very creatively fulfilled. We're going to, I'm surprised. I've got a couple of moments where I was like, damn it, that sucks personally, but I can also look at the big picture these days. I've been knocked down enough times and fed a few disappointments sometimes where I didn't always deal with it the right way for the bigger picture and understanding, okay, the company needs this right now. How does this screw me up? It doesn't really. It actually works for the character. And as long as it works for the character, I can be professionally disappointed. Personally disappointed, but professionally, I know we're still on the right track and the fans are still going to be emotionally invested. And that's all that matters, because I've been in situations where they were not emotionally invested. And the worst thing in the world in pro wrestling is silence. It's death.
Have you had silence? Not recently, I don't feel like.
Not for years, but I've had it. And it's not fun. I can still clearly remember moments. Actually, the worst one ever, if anyone wants to get on the YouTube, as us older people call it. My first pay-per-view match, before it was PLEs, was following Randy Orton versus John Cena in the Hell in a Cell, at the peak of Cena Randy, the first big feud, the end of their blood feud. Hell in a Cell, beat each other to death. Hell in a Cell finished. And the next match was R-Truth versus Drew McIntyre, not with broken dreams, just me strolling out like, hi everybody, and I'm 1,000% sure I could have heard a pin drop as I walked out there with that many people in the building. It was very depressing. Would never want to feel that again. And feel bad for anybody when I see it. I want to message them and go, okay, let's figure out how to get any kind of noise. You have to show your arse. But
so whether it's cheers or boos, you want to hear something.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. These days especially, there's so much shades of gray and reflects society in real life. In WWE, we're 52 weeks a year. We really lean into not black and white anymore, but real life situations. And sometimes the fans are going to react positively for a good guy, or, negatively for a good guy and positively for a bad guy, or negatively for a bad guy. It just depends on the situation that they're currently in.
I feel like you're so good at blurring those lines. I'm curious if you still think the roles of a babyface and a heel, do they still exist?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the end, if you're technically a bad guy, I believe I'm the good guy. I always tell the truth. But there might be little moments where people go, Drew, come on, fight, be the Scottish Warrior. You always fought no matter what. Where I'm going to go, why would I fight? What's that going to gain me? Especially recently, I got, when I was champion, for example, and Cody's in the ring challenged me to fight, or Jacob's in the ring challenged me to fight, and I got the title in my hands. I'm like, why would I fight? You want to see that? They're all cheering. Yeah, of course I want to see you fight, and I walk away. Everyone boos me. Does that make me the bad guy? Because I've been through so much, and I finally got my hands on the title, and I chose not to fight, because what does that gain me? Knowing what I know, going through everything I've went through, gains me nothing. It makes a bunch of people cheer. But they were cheering before, they were booing before. I got hurt a hell in the cell. I was gone for 3 months. Then they forgot about me. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get mine while I can. And I need to get out, because they're going to forget me the second I'm gone.
You're in an interesting spot because, like you said, you're speaking the truth. You're doing things that make sense, but you're still doing it from a heels like point of view. And it's just interesting the way that
the human point of view. I just see it as a very logical human point of view. And I always tell everybody when they call me a heel, debate me and you will lose. Every interview I do, when they say, oh, you're a heel or whatever, every fan goes, oh, you're the bad guy, or a kid says you're a bad guy. Explain to me how I'm the bad guy. I'll explain my point of view, how I got to this point, the PTSD I've suffered, the trauma I've suffered. You know about trauma? The things I went through with the bloodline in the legs, the amount of titles I was screwed out of, the moments I've taken away from me, including even recently. And I react the way I react. If you're in my position, you're as big as me, you're the job I'm in, would you do what I do? Of course you would. I'll win every single debate, because I'm very, very conscious about the details, and just tell them the truth, like a good relationship. If you never lie, you never have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, how is Cody?
The fans are toxic, to clarify. I'm not the toxic one in the relationship. I'm the honest one.
The toxic one.
Yeah, they're the ones cheating on me.
How is Cody Rhodes the champion right now? He was not supposed to get a rematch ever.
I was under the impression that contracts, not someone's word. If you've looked back at the clips, I literally said, I got the clause put in there that Cody Rhodes will not get a title match if he loses against me in Berlin. That was in there in a contract. Yep. Those exact words. I said it in London. I said it a few times. Go back and fact check, but definitely I said it in London for sure. And then he was in the Royal Rumble, and I was like, wait a minute, if he wins the Royal Rumble, he's going to get a title match. That's not what the clause says. So I had to fix that, helping Nick out, do his job properly. Then suddenly his Elimination Chamber, I had to get in there as well. Wait a minute. It says no title match, not go ahead and win this match or go ahead and win that match. So all I'm doing is trying to do the right thing. Make them, not breach contract, and they still breach the contract because they're always screwing Drew McIntyre.
This seems to be an ongoing thing with Drew McIntyre over the last 2-ish years. You get screwed.
2-ish? 2-ish. Let's see. When's Clash at the Castle? And that's been reasonable. 2022 or 2026? Yeah, at least 4 years. Minimum 4 years.
How's that make you feel?
I mean, frustrated. But at the same time, if I'm sitting in the audience, I'm probably highly entertained watching the journey of it all happen and why it all happened. And hopefully they understand, at times, because I have to remind people don't have a great long-term memory. Europe do. When I go back to Europe, people react positively. They go, Drew, of course you feel this way, because I saw what happened. I saw what the bloodline did to you, beating you to death for years. And then Roman went on vacation, came back with some abs, he got cheered. Jay started saying yeet and doing that thing with his hands. They started cheering him, never said sorry to you once. I went, thank you. And then Punk obviously coming in, the biggest piece of crap on planet Earth, they just start cheering him. And I start explaining to them, okay, guys, I'm still your guy. I'm still going to fight for you. He's a genuinely awful human. Just look online. Look at the character witness reports. My degree's in criminology. I look for, just look at the facts. Look at mine. No one says anything bad about me ever. It's always positive reviews. And they didn't care. They never care. And that hurts, especially when you fought so hard for people for so long and you realize that they're just going to move on. And again, it's a very toxic relationship. And I've been cheated on by the fans more times than I can count. And I kept going back like a sucker until I finally broke free. I spread my wings and I flew like a big, beautiful peacock.
What did this most recent championship win mean to you?
Awesome. Nobody saw it coming, for one. I think everybody assumed that the Cody Express would keep moving on forward. He's been in that position for a long time. And after he finished his story, he was on absolute fire. And I'm not saying he wasn't doing a great job. He's a great champion. He's a great performer, but it was a lot of the same. And I think there needed to be a shakeup, and there was a shakeup that no one saw coming when I won in Berlin. And I could hear my hearing's not great these days, and I could hear the crowd, I could hear the response, and I could see the response. And it put Cody in a position where he had to chase, gave Cody a bit of that edge back, which he, in my opinion, desperately needed. And for me, it gave me some of that legitimacy. Oh yeah, Drew can win the big one, and not going to be so sympathetic. We need to start cheering for this guy if we feel so bad for him, where I could be more of a, like I mentioned, if I got the title and people challenged me to fight, what would I gain? No, I'm Gollum, Lord of the Rings. This is my precious. I'm not letting this go no matter what. So it did a lot of things, but I think it made SmackDown. I know it made SmackDown way more compelling at the time, especially so many people hate me for some reason. So now you've got the champion right in the middle with the target on him. And as Cody mentioned, it's not just that we want the title, it's because you're an arsehole. They're all coming for you, which, made SmackDown more interesting for me personally. I went out in Berlin, and next night was Glasgow. So I got to walk out in Glasgow with the title for the first time as champion, with live fans, with the whole family in attendance, and tell Scotland, I promised you I would bring you the championship, and I brought you the championship. And I'm the only ever, not just Scotland person to do it, but British person to do it.
Yeah, what a moment that was.
Mental. Unreal. He couldn't have written any better. Burns couldn't have wrote a poem better. Shakespeare couldn't have wrote a better play. It was just perfect.
And there was a moment there where the WWE champion and the NXT champion were both from Scotland.
Yep. And I know I text Joe Henry all these facts. I don't have them off the top of my head, but the percentage of people from Scotland who are legitimately from Scotland, not, I'm from Scotland. It's like, yeah, sure you are, mate. But like, legitimately from Scotland.
What accent was that?
That's supposed to be an American to like when they hear I'm Scottish. Like everyone always goes, I'm Irish or I'm Scottish. No one ever says I'm English. No one ever admits to that. But no, there's legitimately 5.5 million of us, and I'm just pulling these off my head. I had to text them to Joe the actual figures, but there's about 63 million English people, and what about America? It's like 362, 63 or so. Was it 300? It doesn't matter. It's a lot. But the percentage of the world who are Scottish is so significantly lower than people think. We're a tiny country. We invented everything, television, radio, penicillin, you're welcome, you dirty bams. Like cloning, we invented literally everything for such a small nation, and the fact that 2 of the 3 top male WWE champions were Scottish was unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty incredible what you've done since coming back to WWE. When do you feel was the moment when like things really started to level up? You returned in 2017, but I feel like it still took some time for you to like be on the level you're on now.
Yeah, I mean, peaks and valleys is the story of my career. There's very few people, like a Roman or a Cena who spends so much time up here the entire time as the number one guy, and they're going to be, made sure they stay in that position. And it keeps it exciting, especially for the performer, because you've always got to be on your game. You've always got to be thinking, reinventing, and making sure the fans care when you're having those ups and downs. The first real moment that I felt like I broke through to the next level was a main event performer, and I had a few where I thought I did. When I think we talked about it briefly, tapping out Kurt Angle to his own ankle lock, I was like, yeah, that's me. I'm a top guy now. Wasn't the case. Like once I eliminated Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble, considering the story that was told in the 2020 Royal Rumble, Brock was a champion, eliminating half the Rumble. People started believing Brock might just win this Rumble and wrestle himself in the main event at WrestleMania. And when I eliminated Brock and heard the reaction and felt the way that people reacted when I came out, I could literally feel it, like they believe I'm going to do it. This is wild. We've not done anything to suggest this is the next guy. It's just been very organic, and taking Brock out, then winning the Rumble at the end and hearing that reaction as well, considering Edge just came back after 9 years, was never going to wrestle again. We've seen people, like Bautista and Roman booed out the building as the good guys for winning the Rumble. That could have conceivably happened, and the fact it didn't, that's the first time I felt like I've arrived. And then it was a while went by, or it really felt like I arrived, and then we took another dip. So there's been these ups and downs over time, and I think as much as it pains me to talk about it, the CM Punk feud really showed what I was capable of, not just as a performer in ring, but as a storyteller and working in tandem with creative. But you could tell a lot of stuff was reeling on the fly because it was, and what I could do off the top of my head, and working with someone I can't stand, but someone that's as good as CM Punk, to create that kind of magic out there. People could see these people don't like each other because we don't, but they're absolutely magic together, and which also obviously led to the Hell in the Cell, that period where I really felt like, okay, he's not just a top level performer because he's good in the ring, or he looks like how a wrestler should look. Like this guy's a storyteller and a talker as well. The
feud with CM Punk is now behind you. How do you feel about CM Punk now?
Not a piece of crap. Can't stand him. I watch him every week and I go, isolated, he's doing good things with the world title. It's good for you. That's a good run right there as a fighting champion. I think fighting champions are stupid because I was one. And why would you defend it all the time? That's just disrespectful to the title. The opponent should earn it. So I did it before. That's why I can say that stuff. But at the same time, he's nowhere close to what he did with me. And it pains me to admit, I'm still chasing the dragon for what I did with him. So opposites freaking attract.
Okay, let's be honest. The cost of living isn't just high, it can be exhausting. And if you've been leaning on credit cards lately just to cover the basics like groceries, gas, and utility bills, you're essentially paying a survival tax of 20% interest or more. Our friends at American Financing have a better way. They're helping homeowners tap into their equity to pay off high interest debt with mortgage rates currently in the fives. On average, American Financing is saving their customers $800 a month. That's nearly $10,000 a year back in your pocket. It takes just 10 minutes to find out what you could save. There's no upfront fees and no obligation to talk to a salary-based mortgage consultant. And here's the kicker. Start today and you could even delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, America's home for home loans. Call 866-721-3300. That's 866-721-3300 or visit americanfinancing.net/Chris.
That Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk was magic. It was so special, and there have been so many Hell in a Cell matches before. Hell, they had a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell where there was a Hell in a Cell every single year just for the sake of
I was in a bunch of them. Lost them all. I was basically the reverse streak, but it's technically a streak if you lose them all.
you haven't won in a Hell in a Cell?
Never. No.
Yet.
Lost them all. Yet. Yes.
Yet.
Yes, there will be one eventually, and I'm going to make sure I win that thing. I don't know how yet because I've such tragic luck and suffered such physical pain in every single one. It's been unbelievable. I fell off halfway up the Hell in the Cell against Randy one time. Worst fall of my life. I saw Seth talk about it one time. He said it was the thing you wish you could take back. I wish I could take it back too. I genuinely thought I broke my back, my neck. I bit through my tongue. I had a snake tongue afterwards. I was spitting up blood. Terrible, awful. And no one will ever watch it again because it was during the pandemic.
How was that spot supposed to go?
Fall through the table and not feel as bad.
So same spot, just different outcome.
Yeah. I was under the impression it wasn't going to hurt half as much. And I was lied to. No one in the office's fault. A particular person fed me a bunch of nonsense.
So there have been so many Hell in a Cell matches before, so many iconic moments. How do you go into this match with CM Punk and try to create something different?
I just knew we had the story. We both knew we had the story going into it. And as much as we didn't spend a great deal of time together, we both knew there's no limits here. I feel like sometimes there's limits when I watch people, and I feel like I don't really put limits on myself now, but with him, like I knew there was no limit. He knew there was no limit when it came to verbal attacks or physical attacks. We would do anything, take anything to make it what it needed to be and get out our genuine disdain for each other. And the match itself, there's one thing we agreed on, the agent agreed on. The agent was somewhat of a middleman putting this match together. It wasn't, I was sitting there like, hey, buddy, old pal, what do you want to do? Like it was more, I think this, well, I think this. And, Chris Abyss, what's that show called? I never watch. Unreal. Yeah. He's a star of that show, I believe. I know Cody keeps mentioning it every 2 seconds.
You don't watch it?
I watch all the time. I understand why we have it. I'm just not quite on it yet. But yeah, he was the middleman there, and he's always great ideas. He knows me and my game better than just about anybody. And we had a pretty simple agreement. No crazy stuff. The story has already been told. The cell is the weapon. Let's make the Hell in the Cell what it used to be. And let's make people care about Hell in the Cell, and let's just bring the violence with our physicality and minimal shenanigans. Turned into maximum shenanigans, but it wasn't planned that way.
The spot with the steel steps is just scary to watch.
Yeah.
It's like spine first onto the steps.
Yeah. I've seen a few people talk about that. I was, oh God, yeah, Drew's not quite moved the same since that fall in the steps. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've moved better than I've ever moved in the past 10 years, but I can understand why people would think that's a career ender right there, because it was very dangerous to even attempt something like that, to land that way. I'm not saying I needed a massive out to lose to someone like CM Punk, because blood loss defeated me that night, not him. But I wanted something memorable, and I know myself, I know my body control, and I know I could do something that I would never ever do again. And after doing it, I would never do it again. But that whole match from beginning to end is my masterpiece. Whether he admits it or not, it's his masterpiece, as both are Mona Lisa's. And that restored Hell in the Cell to its former glory. And I know when we're long retired and long gone, people will still talk about that feud and that match.
At what point during that match did you realize that it was on another level?
When I wasn't unconscious from blood loss. It was a little fright when I started bleeding initially, and the blood was legitimately spurting out of my head and landing a couple of feet in front of me, which I've never seen before and was obviously not supposed to happen. And I was worried that one, I would go out, and two, the match would be stopped. But thankfully, we got everyone in the back on the headpiece, like Hunter leading the charge. He's been in the ring. So he's somebody that he will stop the match these days if he has to, considering what we know now and the medical protocols, but he's also understands what it's like to be a performer. So it was very much a back and forth between the referee, myself, the doctor, and Triple H, like how I was feeling, how I was doing, and making sure I was with it. And, nothing bad was going on. I did roll to the side of the cage at one point for the doctor to give me the quick once over and make sure I wasn't lying, just to try and get through it. But it was legitimately scary for a second, because I was like, my God, after all this work, this could potentially be stopped. And I just need to stay conscious and get through this match. And it made the match what it was. It was the match I dreamed about as a kid. And I remember watching the blood feuds ending with the crimson masks. And I mentioned Hunter, he was always the one back in the day I would watch with a big bloody face. And like, this is the match. Himself and Mick Foley, for example, both of them bleeding. Like, I want to have one of those one day. And in this world we're in now, and it's a lot safer, I get it, but I really wanted one of those matches. And that night, Punk and I got one of those matches, and I'll remember it forever.
When you got to the back, were you like, that was it? That was the match?
Yep. I pretty much knew that night. After the doctors freaked out and checked me over once to make sure I was okay, and they were amazed that I was like completely fine aside the gash.
aside from the giant gash in the skull.
17 staples I needed to get in my head, but I knew.
I love that that's okay. Yeah, it was great.
No, it was far from okay. But once all that calmed down, I knew. I was like, my God, that's it. I'm going to be chasing the dragon for the rest of my career, the Dragon's Tail, and I am. And it's a fun game. But like, he knew as well, and I knew. And I think a lot of fans knew, like, that is pro wrestling at its finest.
Is that like the moment? Like, you've had amazing WrestleMania moments, but is this the moment that for now you go back to?
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing moments of winning the title, obviously in Berlin and bringing it out in Glasgow, and the Rumble moments with Brock, etc. And Seth and I having a moment when I won the world title before it went into the story piece with Punk and I got to present the title to my wife as well. Try to think of more. There's just so many very special moments to me. But when it comes to professional wrestling, like how I like it and how I grew up on it, that was it.
We talked earlier about how, like, Cody Rhodes got this rematch. Nick Aldis made this thing happen. It's a lot of animosity with Nick Aldis.
Yeah, there is.
A lot of fans calling for maybe a match with Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis. Would you love to go in there and have a match with him?
Hell yeah, I would. Yeah, I can feel it when I'm out there with him. Whenever we go back and forth on the microphone, I can feel the people starting to get into it. I don't feel it with Jacob, and I think Jacob and I turned a big corner after fighting like Peter Griffin and the Giant Chicken for 3 straight hours before almost killing each other, falling off the giant platform where I dragged him to hell with me. So we turned a big corner for our feud, even though Jacob and I have. You look at the basics of it, it could just be Godzilla, Kong, 2 big guys fighting. People are happy to see it. But we have this story. We've screwed each other along the way. He took away the biggest moment for me, being champion at WrestleMania. We have this story built in. And then we have the physicality and how good the match is going to be and how good the people know the match is going to be. And then the big fight on SmackDown, and who knows where it's going to go. I've got plenty of ideas what I want. So it'll be good. But at the same time, there's this Aldis thing simmering at the side, and every time we go back and forth on the mic, you can feel the tension. You can cut it with a knife. We've known each other a long time. I name dropped his son because I have known him for that long. But what a corporate stooge he is. His kid must be Donovan. Must be ashamed of him having such a corporate stooge for a father instead of backing me, the one who's in the right and the one that he's known for years and is one who's his actual friend. So when the time is right, be it Mania, be it after Mania, I think we should have a match. And I don't think there should be, any sanctioning around it. I don't think anyone should be allowed to interfere. He tapes up the fist. He's been up in the ring a long time. He thinks he can go with a 4-time former world champion in WWE in the big leagues. Probably the greatest NWA champion of the modern era, since Billy took over NWA. But he's not been in there for a long time. He's a big guy. I would love to get in there with him, and I'd love to see what damage I could do. And no one's allowed to interfere. They can come up close and ask me to stop politely, but I've been known to get a little crazy out there.
It's crazy that there's fans that haven't even seen a Nick Aldis match. They just think that he's a jacked guy in a suit.
Yeah, like, wow, that GM is incredibly jacked for some reason.
No, 2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
No, and I grew up around him, as I said. He's younger than me as well. I remember seeing him for the first time, and he was more jacked than me in our teens. And I was like, God, I better get in shape. This oldest guy is pretty jacked, and I met Sheamus about that time, and that was when I was like, okay, in ring wise, I feel pretty confident. But I was at university at the time, no money, probably. That's a common theme for me throughout my life: drinking too much, partying too much, having a good old time. I really have to start putting on some weight because I was a naturally tall, skinny guy, and Nick's one of the ones I saw, and I was like, right, I got to start putting on the weight. And now, fast forward, God, 22 years later. Now he's the GM. Now we're each other's throat, and I think it'd be a shame if it didn't inevitably lead to some kind of match with him in a bloody mess.
You talk about winning the Rumble in 2020, which leads to the WrestleMania match, which right before they decide there can't be any fans there. I've always wondered, why was there this extra match with Big Show? Like a dark match main event. What was the story behind that?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I do know that the story is, but we're just trying to throw things against the wall and see what sticks. I guess it was some kind of hook for the next Raw, rather than just I come out as champion and here's a promo in an empty warehouse with 0 people reacting. Oh, by the way, there was also this match that happened once the cameras went off the air. Yeah, I'll never quite know, but it does allow me to say I beat Brock Lesnar and the Big Show in one night within about 15 minutes. That's pretty cool.
Did that at that moment feel like your WrestleMania moment?
More the Brock part, but
well, that's what I mean. But like winning the championship.
And I love show, and I appreciate. We actually did like a 30-minute match for real, and they cut it down way down. We went back and forth. We had this great back and forth match together, and it got edited down. But it was a different feeling, a different WrestleMania moment feeling. It's obviously not how you envision it as a kid. Certainly not the organic rise from eliminating Brock at the Rumble, and the fans really getting behind me and getting the loudest reactions on the show, and people coming to me with the merchandise numbers. I don't pay attention to numbers because the second they go bad, they're like, oh, well, it's on you now because you were bragging about when they were good. Whatever. People telling me, your shirt's the number one and whatever. And I was like, wow, it's going to be in Tampa, WrestleMania. That's my American hometown. I've been there for 12 years. My family are coming. My friends are coming. This can't possibly go wrong. Then the world shuts down. So it wasn't quite as I imagined, all the people going crazy, my family there. But I knew people are scared. We don't know what we know right now. This is their escape. I'm the main event. I'm the feel-good story. And I had a personal moment with the title, a moment of reflection, the people that were on this journey and sacrificed to get me to that moment, and was able to reach through the screen and thank everybody that was on that journey with me. And it wasn't edited. And that was the first time I think someone broke the fourth wall during that period and became a regular occurrence, because it was the only way we could, touch the fans and connect emotionally with the fans, because they weren't live there in attendance.
And there's not a lot of people that have beat Brock Lesnar. Certainly not in the last 10 years or so.
Not in 5 minutes and kick out the F5 and a one
funny.
count.
Say it's a 30-minute match that got cut down to 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was Big Show. The Brock match. No, that certainly was not. No, I don't think Brock would be doing that one over there. But no, he went out of his way. He's a bit more open these days, so it's easier to talk about when he's doing interviews and being more the real person. But he doesn't like people. And once you kind of get to know him a little bit and he realizes you're a stand-up person and you're in it for the right reasons, he'll go out of his way to make you look good, just like what he's doing with Oba right now. It's pretty much the same treatment that I got, one-upping him every step of the way. Brock never one-upped me one time all the way till I beat him.
What was the first moment where you went, oh, Brock's actually he must like me?
And there was a few moments, but certainly when I was claymoring him over and over, and I want to say it was New York. Someone might correct me, maybe Chicago, but I believe it was New York. It was somewhere lively fans for sure, where I claymored him a couple of times in the ring, I think, and I claymored him on the stage, and they were chanting one more time. And I just stepped back hoping he would react to it, and he started feeding up. I didn't have to tell him, he would be the one to tell me. But he fed back up and he took another one because the fans wanted another one. And it's out there now, so I can talk about it. He told me, pick up the title, the same as he told Oba, put the foot on me or whatever, because he wanted to make sure, this is the guy. And if Brock Lesnar is able to be dominated by somebody, this is a force to be reckoned with.
So fast forward 4 years, WrestleMania 40. You get the moment in front of fans.
Finally.
Seth even says to you, you effing deserve it. What did that mean when Seth's saying to you, hell yeah, man?
It was awesome. I mean, I got to tell him as well, you're the effing man, because he is. Seth's not so much a personal rival, like a Punk or whatever. He's a professional rival. We both just want to be the best and show the world we're the best. And I gave him a hard time on the way to Mania, especially socially. I was going, I go overboard all the time, but I was going especially overboard. He caught something he probably didn't deserve. He was caught in the Punk line of fire. But he knew what I was trying to do, and he was such a pro about it. And we went into that match. It wasn't one of our 30-minute bangers, with the wrestling and the ups and downs, and then the near falls. It was OK Corral. I hit my Claymore at the start, stomp, Claymore, stomp. It's just who's going to get up last. And I was able to finally have that moment, and that moment was Seth afterwards, then present the title to my wife and the fans, holding the title in the ring and chanting, you deserve it. That was, very cool to have that moment, and knowing what was going to happen next. I was like, all right, enjoy that, bank it, that's one for the memory books. You'll be sitting on the rocker one day because you got to take mental pictures. The young, superstars out there that are sometimes my age when they first show up in WWE. So enjoy it quick. Bank those memories, take snapshots because I didn't do it when I was younger and I can't remember how it felt, but I remember everything. I remember everything about that night. I remember how it felt afterwards. And I remember how it felt when Priest beat me. As much as it pains me to say, I was kind of happy for him. He was a friend of mine. And that was cool to have that moment, and all within 5 minutes for myself and then for him.
You were such a savage on social media.
I am.
You're not on Twitter anymore, right?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. I'm just, not much to say right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If someone just prods me a little bit, I go off. I always just invite people. I think everyone's too scared of me now. People tell me, I won't say names backstage, but people that are pretty savage out there and known for social media have told me I just don't want to come at you because you'll execute me. And I will.
Do you spend all week just thinking of the perfect comeback?
No. It's just me and my mate who's English. We're British. We have a very British sense of humor and we're absolute savages. And I think it was in the Pat McAfee show one time. He mentioned about it, and I said, people like to call me a troll or keyboard warrior or whatever. I was like, I'm not your average troll. I'll shred you on the internet, then I'll step from behind the keyboard, then I'm the size I am, then I'll beat your arse, and then if I wasn't married, my wife hates this line, I'd take your girl too. It's not exactly a troll or a keyboard warrior. It's I can do it all, is the point.
We all have non-negotiables in life. For me, getting quality sleep is absolutely non-negotiable. Ever since I switched to a Helix Midnight Lux mattress, my sleep has completely changed. I'm falling asleep faster, staying asleep longer, and waking up actually feeling refreshed. And it's not just my experience. Helix found that 82% of people increase their deep sleep while sleeping on a Helix mattress. Amazing. When you switch to Helix, you're upgrading to a premium mattress that is customized to fit your personal needs and is conveniently shipped to your door. They have a supportive hybrid design, and you can choose to elevate your mattress with premium cooling options. I did that for sure. The best part, you get seamless returns, exchanges, and a risk-free experience. So if you're making upgrades this spring, start with your sleep. Go to helixsleep.com/CVV for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/CVV for 20% off site-wide. Make sure you enter the name of our show after checkout so they know that we're the ones who sent you there for a better night of sleep. helixsleep.com/CVV.
You were never, and I mean this with great respect, you were never really a promo guy coming up. Now you are one of the promo guys.
Yeah. I mean, which part coming up? My first run? But did you miss my indie run?
That's where I think things started to change.
That's where I got comfortable. Sorry, I'll let you finish the question in case that was it.
And when do you feel like you turned the corner?
The indie run, for sure. When the microscope wasn't on me anymore, when I was released from WWE for the first time and the last time. I knew I was okay. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to start improving my game. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'm going to be a better talent because of this experience. I'm going to get on the mic as often as I can. I'm going to get as many reps in the ring as I can. I'm going to truly find myself because I felt like, one, I've been in 3MB for a long time, so it's hard to find yourself as a top level performer within that role. But I'm going to just get in those main event matches, find my style, find who I am, find my voice. And that's exactly what happened. And thankfully, a lot of people believed in me during that time because that's the time in 2014 to 17 where the indies were rising and they needed some faces of different companies. They needed someone that represented that independent wrestling. And I became that guy and got so many opportunities, so many people believing in me and kind of faked it till I made it because there was a lot of insecurity during that time. A lot of my wife said me saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say. And I'm terrified to go out there, especially my return promo to ICW, which just gets rave reviews. But I was so scared, I was crapping myself. And I went out there and spoke for 20 minutes. And Mick Foley told me, hey, I was going to do a post about this. She seemed like a different guy. I need to do something bigger. And he went on Stone Cold's radio show and said, have you seen Drew McIntyre recently? He seems like a whole new different person. And he told me, text Triple H, keep an eye on Drew. And I was like, yeah, it's been 3 weeks. I had that in me the whole time, but I needed to get away from under the microscope to truly find myself and find my voice during that time.
Do you feel like you always had that in you and you just didn't get the chance during your first WWE run?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I really don't think so because I'd kind of come up in the system and felt like things needed to be done a certain way and was scared to take chances. Was kind of walking on eggshells a lot of the time, and maybe for backstage reasons, but maybe also for personal reasons. Like, a very shy, introverted person, which is hilarious considering I run around in underpants for a job since I was like 15 years old, and I think I had to get away truly find myself and gain that confidence that some people just get right away. I was very confident about a lot of things, but the talking was not something I was confident with. When I watched my old promos back, I wonder if I had a second puberty or something, that my voice is so high pitched and the Scottish accent is so thick. So yeah, I'm Drew McIntyre and I'm applying for dual citizenship. So it'd be great to hear you say USA. And it's even higher than that. I can't even do an impression of it. So I'm pretty sure the second puberty, which might explain the 50 pounds again as well.
I love that we just got a 3MB reunion recently at Jinder's wedding.
Yeah, that was cool seeing the boys. I've seen them a couple of times at a couple of weddings now, actually, but the Jinder picture went absolutely massive.
That was just so cool seeing you guys at Jinder's wedding, looking like you're just having a blast.
Yeah, it really did. That was a fairy tale wedding. And my wife had outfits for every single day.
Yeah, how many days was it?
It was a few at least. I mean, it may have been 4, but I definitely had about 1, 2, 3, minimum 3 costume changes throughout each day. It's like, his religion and her religion was combined as one. And it was just such an incredible spectacle. It was like a WWE event or something, watching it with all the colors and just all the love. It was unreal. And to get together with some of my closest friends and see how far they've come in life, and see someone like Dirty Dango, see how far he's come as well. He's just so happy now. And a lot of us when we were younger, we were having our personal struggles. Him and I went through a lot together, and just to see him lighten up and be at his wedding too, and just see everybody just winning in life made me happy.
I just feel like maybe it's where you're at in your life personally, maybe it's where you're at in your life professionally, but I just feel like you have this lightness to you.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I was carrying the weight of the world for a long time, and sometimes I still do, and sometimes I make things that are not a big deal bigger than they are, but not like I did when I was younger. I just why are you worrying about this? We're all here for a snap of the finger relative to time. Enjoy it, make the most of it, be happy when you can be happy, because we're not getting out of this life alive.
So the St. Petersburg area, Tampa area was home for a while, was your U.S. home for a while. Now right. Nashville, where we are right now, is home. What brought you to Nashville?
Buddy Sheamus, and he left.
Sheamus isn't here anymore.
No.
Nick Aldis is here, though.
He is. I need to go to his farm and torch it. Nah, I don't hurt one of the animals, but I'll just torch him instead. But that's what happened. Miro moved here first, I believe. Yeah. And then Sheamus moved and kept chipping away to move. And I was like, I don't want to move. 1, I just hate the idea of moving. And 2, why would I want to go to Nashville? I've got my routine in St. Petersburg. I've lived here for a while. I've got my gym, etc. Just didn't want to come. So he knew how to get through to me. He invited us, my wife and I, for Halloween, and then kind of focused on her. Look how nice it is here. Look at the houses here, and all the Halloween events, how cool it is. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, whatever. But he's focused on her, and he's got his fiance, wife now, Izzy, kind of focused on her as well, and then invites us back for Christmas the next year. We stay at the house, starts chipping away again, and finally she says, I just feel like a fresh start. We're in Nashville. Damn it, you got through to her. I knew this, and eventually we moved. It was a whole to do. It was as bad as I thought it was going to be. We had a moving truck and the likes, and we got my truck, etc., driven down separately. But for the cats, we're worried about transporting them any way that wasn't the most convenient and safest way possible, especially your one cat Chaz was sick a long time. So we got an RV, and I've never driven an RV in my life. America's insane. 1, I got a license with basically no lessons in Tampa, and I learned on the job. I'm good now-ish. But also you just get an RV, like a U-Haul truck. Remember the Family Guy episode, he's moving houses? I'm making a go of it.
It's crazy that you get your driver's license driving whatever, a Honda Civic. Yeah. And then just,
fly around a giant truck like a maniac. Yeah. So my wife started, she drove the RV, got us as far as Perry, Georgia from Tampa, St. Pete area. And then I just had to drive at the gas station. So I want to say it was probably 20 feet long at least. I start driving it out. Things are going fine. I take a little right to go to the gas station. I feel something against the side of the RV. And so I do this all the time. I've done it multiple times, more times than I care to mention. But instead of hitting the brake, I always push through. But sometimes, with the truck, I'll get a little scratch on the side or whatever. With this, I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And it sparks are coming out. She's like, stop. I finally stopped. And thank God the gas station pump had those big metal barriers on the side. I'd ripped right through the side of it and torn through the tire almost. And we get stuck at that gas station overnight. We couldn't get hold of anybody. I think it was a Sunday. Nothing was open. I called AAA, and they said you don't obviously have RV coverage or truck coverage wherever you need to fix an RV. I was okay. Can I get that sorted out? It was no problem. I'll be this much. Do this. Okay. Well, it takes a day or whatever to activate. It was I need it right now. So that's gonna be pointless. But I don't have an RV anymore. So we got literally stuck there overnight. it was a dodgy gas station. A lot of people hanging out there, having themselves a little party at the gas station, wife terrified, hugging the cats, just saying, Drew, stay on guard, no problem. Falling asleep every 2 seconds because I've got, it's a gift in wrestling to have like mild narcolepsy. I'm falling asleep constantly, no matter the situation we're in. And yeah, we got the tire fixed the next day and finally made it there, but she was not very happy with me. And I am an amazing driver.
Sparks at a gas station.
Big sparks. I wasn't even listening. She was saying stop. I was just pushing and pushing and pushing. I'm going to get through this thing, but there's still 10 feet of RV behind me trying to get through. Thank God the metal barriers work because not every gas station has those in front of the pumps.
Well, we're moving out here to Nashville now. So, yeah,
a lot easier to get one of these done. We've been talking about doing a full form interview forever. And then today, like I've got the worst allergies in the world. I hope it's allergies. You're going to be sick in 2 days. The worst allergies in the world. I'm getting a lot of work done in the house right now. There's a recovery center out back. And the tree pollen is at its highest possible level right now. And they're digging up the backyard and I am dropped dead in the middle of the living room. She's like, you okay? Nope, but I got to go talk about wrestling. That'll keep me alive. And it genuinely does. This is my passion. And like the wife, I'll put her over whenever I can because sometimes when I like do interviews, I kind of bury everybody and get into bad guy mode and bury her too. But she's brought balance to my life in a way where wrestling is my obsession, is my passion. But it's good to switch it off for a little bit when you're home, and you yield better results because everything can process in your brain. It took a long time to learn that, and it's thanks to her I'm able to find that balance-ish in my life.
The last time we did an interview was the junket for Killer's Game, and they were kind enough to give us an extended period of time. Looks like I might be interviewing you again when Highlander comes out. So you're working with Dave Bautista once again. Does Dave Bautista just go, if you need a giant Scottish man, I've got your guy?
I mean, that's certainly what happened the first time. I was described to a T. The director, JJ Perry, had said, I've got an idea for these, brother hitmen for the Killer's Game. That was a theme, like a more comedic John Wick, which I enjoyed as a movie as a whole, not just because I was in it. They'll be Scottish. The little one will be a little crazier. A bit martial artist. Scott Adkins played him, and the bigger one has to look like he could conceivably beat you up, and be able to do the Scottish accent, and be obviously the accent unintelligible at times. And Dave said, I know that guy. He exists. His name's Drew. let me talk to him and talk to WWE and make this happen. And yeah, anything else that comes, I just kind of take it as it comes. I don't actively seek anything out.
So how did Highlander come about?
I mean, it just I don't go into the ins and outs backstage and these things, but I had the chance to talk to a couple of people and get offered an opportunity. And when we talk about this next time, if something's out there and it's not edited, and I don't feel like an arse because some people have been edited out movies that look like arses, and then we will go into details about it. But if it comes around the way you just mentioned and Dave ends up killing me, I have an idea that we just keep doing feature after feature after feature where he murders me. And then I think he even mentioned to me one time, was like, we can keep this going, and then you can get me the next time. I'm like, no, screw that. I wanted to be like Undertaker's streak. I wanted to be like 20 films in a row where I just get murdered. And then just out of nowhere, I go, like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where he gets the sheriff of Nottingham, just out of nowhere, and the whole place pops and loses their mind because I finally broke the streak. I also went to Hell in the Cell as well and break that streak.
Was it Henry Cavill that was like, I got to keep up with this guy? If I'm going to put on so much size, I got to keep up with Drew McIntyre?
I mean, I've not seen him, so hopefully he looks
he's like Superman, or was Superman.
Like a brother part, but reading online, I'm supposed to be his brother, so that was the former world's most handsome man. Yeah, the brother of former world's most handsome man. I'd say if that's the case, maybe get Drew in the running for the next one.
You had a match where not only did you beat Kurt Angle, but you made Kurt Angle tap out to his own finisher, the ankle lock.
I did it twice.
How did this come about?
Well, the big one is obviously in WWE. It was in was it Manchester? I believe. Were they both in Manchester? That'd be crazy. Someone can fact check it for me and get it in the comments. But the one in WWE, I want to say there was some kind of injury or somebody was out, and it might have been when Roman was sick, and we had to start building some big credible main event performers, and I needed some significant moments. That's what makes you a top level main event performers, racking up moment after moment after moment. And I believe it was maybe when Roman went out sick initially, especially to build an opponent for when Roman came back. And that's what came of it, was I was going to not just beat Kurt Angle, I was going to annihilate Kurt Angle, and I was going to tap him out to his own submission, the ankle lock. And thankfully, Kurt was gracious enough to do it because obviously he could tie me up like a pretzel if he wanted to. But, he was great. I was in his face. I was, mocking him, he was basically tears in his face. I was ripping on his family, his kids, beating his arse, and just being a terrible, terrible human being. And he did so much for me that night. But he'd also done that for me a few years prior in TNA, where he told me, I want you to not just beat me, but tap me out, because we're trying to make me in TNA as the top babyface at the time. And I believe it was Manchester. I'm almost convinced we're both in Manchester. Maybe Kurt likes to tap out in Manchester. Someone definitely needs to check that out for me. But I was tagging with Johnny Gargano at the time, and Evolve were tag team champions. I couldn't think of a submission. I was like, I'll do the Gargano escape, as a tribute to Johnny there. So yeah, I got Kurt with the Gargano escape there, then the ankle lock. So thank you, Kurt.
You've had a lot of moments. You were the first person to ever kick out of Baron Corbin's End of Days.
The only person. He loves it. So I'm glad we're taking this opportunity and a big platform to go into detail about the time that I kicked out at WrestleMania, no less, of the End of Days, the unkick-outable finishing move of Baron Corbin. I kicked out of it.
Well, he said he wanted it to be protected. And that was a big thing for him. Yes. Whoever he wrestled, you could do anything in the match, but he's just I'd appreciate it if we can protect my finish. What changed in that match?
Business is the same as myself, and not getting personally upset or personally disappointed. Of course, we all get personally disappointed, but understanding the big picture and what do we need to do right now. The company needs to pivot for this reason and this reason and this reason, and this is what we're trying to achieve over here. So sometimes you gotta eat it. And he's an amazing performer, and he still gets so much to give. Big guy, moves like a cat, can get unbelievable heat. I get so annoyed when he does his cooking videos and that, but it's fine now. It makes sense now because he was getting so much heat. I was like, stop being likable. I be a terrible human being. So you get all the heat in the world, and he's genuinely amazing in the ring, and so he's such a big guy. But that night, we had to make Drew McIntyre to get ready to face Roman Reigns and lead to that Clash at the Castle match, and that was a big part of it. It wasn't just a case of he kicked out, no one's done it before. We made sure people knew this has never been kicked out of before. Drew McIntyre kicked out of it, won the match, sliced the rope with the swords, big spectacle, went on to fight Roman, and the first stadium PLE in the UK since SummerSlam 92.
That feels like a mistake for you. You should have won that match, Clash at the Castle. That's got to be one of those moments where if you could go back in time, fantasy book a different finish. That's got to be one of the answers.
Yeah, what a moment it would have been. Again, it's the what if, and would I be here now? Would the story have been as interesting now? And the answer is probably no, but what a moment it would have been. The people would have gone crazy. I would have been racking up those moments I missed during COVID that will never be replayed again. But at the same time, that was when, the true trauma for McIntyre started, losing in front of the family and friends and singing the stupid song with Tyson Fury, which I made up for singing the Scottish National Anthem when I won the world title a few months ago. And it really set me on that downward spiral and brought the character to where we're at now. And thanks to the nature of the stories we tell now, under Triple H, using real emotion and real human emotion, and all the PTSD, it led to disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. But McIntyre spiraling at the same time, adding layer after layer after layer. And if that didn't happen as the genesis of where we're at right now, would we be here now? Probably not. Would it have been nice and an awesome moment isolated? Fuck yeah, it would have.
Hey guys, Maven here. Is exactly what you'll hear if you go to the next Insight Live in Las Vegas. Yes, Maven is our special guest for Insight Live the Thursday of WrestleMania week, April 16th at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas. Circa is also the place to watch WrestleMania if you're not going to the show. Yes, watch parties are back on. Watch night 1 and night 2 here at Stadium Swim on a 143-foot screen with the beautiful pools right in front of it. Grab your tickets now at cvvtix.com. That's cvvtix.com. And as an added bonus for anybody who buys a VIP ticket, Maven's sticking around for the meet and greet after the show. This never happens. So grab your VIP tickets now. Hang out with me and Maven at the meet and greet after the show in Las Vegas. Also grab tickets for the show in Tampa and New Orleans, all at cvvtix.com. And I will see you there.
It feels like it's not just disappointment for the Drew McIntyre character. Fans seem to be disappointed with a lot of things over the last handful of years of Drew got his moment and then it got taken away. Drew was the champion, but it was just a transitional champion. How do you react to that?
For the UK market, I was a little, worried at that time, but the product was so hot and is so hot right now. We were fine. We kept selling out over and over. And again, I don't make those those decisions. Triple H is in charge for a reason. But the fans, getting disappointed on my behalf, I appreciate it. And sometimes I am equally as personally disappointed, and I hope to see the future. And I do have personal conversations with those in charge and say my feelings. And I'm always told, Drew, here's what we're thinking, or here's what I'm thinking. We go this direction, I give my opinion, and it's always, that's where we're going to go. And we have stuck on that path every time. And I've been so particular about the journey and the character and the nuances, and I've not been lied to when it comes to the journey. Things change. That's just the nature of it. And the transitional thing, if people are saying it right now, I don't believe that to be the case. I think it's another part of Drew McIntyre's story. Personally, it sucks. I would love to book in Mania as champion with the title, and whatever might have been supposed to happen, would have been very cool. But things happen in the bigger picture, as I've been talking about over and over. And as a company, as Mania for 2 days, we need all these big matches. We need surprises, and this gave us two giant matches. But for Drew McIntyre, screwing over Cody, even though it was in a contract, even though it was justified, and it makes perfect sense to raise the story with Aldis. It makes perfect sense to set up the match with Jacob. Now we get this crazy match with Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. We get people seeing like, wow, Drew was screwed, but at the same time, kind of deserved it, but did he really deserve it? And then Cody and Randy have got their match over there going on right now. So I appreciate the fans. If anything doesn't work out, and I'm sitting there at one point just like, oh my God, no one cares, and the story didn't make sense, and it sucks, and I'm left in the lurch, then I'll be the first one to point it out. But that's not happened so far. And after the stuff I've been doing with Jacob, I know McIntyre's right back on track of where we need to be, which I believe inevitably is going to lead to a big babyface run down the line, but I'm not trying to get there anytime soon.
When you talk about plans changing, John Cena said in an interview on the No Contest Wrestling podcast that it was supposed to be you versus him at Crown Jewel. You feel like your match with John Cena got taken away from you?
Yeah, it sucks. And I wish I did get the opportunity with John, not just for a one-on-one match, which we never had as long as we were around each other, but a chance to get on the microphone with him after showing what I could do with like CM Punk and so many others that are, known for being the best on the mic. John is unbelievable. But I loved that moment. I loved the chance to go back and forth with him. The public never knew about it. I knew there was a plan before that, actually. That had to change, and then there was that plan, and there was a pivot again, and I believe it came down to like John said, because initially people were like, oh my God, you see what Cena said? I went, oh, what? It was like the match with Drew, it never happened, and then the match with AJ happened, and the way they worded it was like, John said it was public or whatever. I was like, it was public, nobody knew that. He tweeted about me and AJ or something, and people went, hell yeah, I want to see John Cena and AJ Styles. If we tweeted, want to see me and Drew, they probably would have been happy to see both as well. So like, yeah, behind the scenes stuff, that did happen, and it was disappointing, but at the same time, they had a great match with John and AJ. They got John's last few months back on track, which I was happy for him because I felt like we could have, done a little better in that first part of the journey, and maybe I would have got one of the matches. But again, crap happens. Sometimes you go one path, it doesn't work. You got to go back on the path, and there's fallout from it. And I can be personally upset, or I can be like, all right, we did a tag match here. It's disappointing, but I was around him. I learned for years, and he's retired, and I was world champion for a few months, so I'm fine. So
it wasn't just the Crown Jewel match. There was going to be something else in there?
There was another match prior to that, not involving more than us, I'll say. I'm like, give away all the details like John out there. But there was a pitch for something else, and then something changed, and then another pitch. And then we ended up with the AJ match because it wasn't public, myself and John. I just would have loved that chance on the mic to see what we could have done, and still got the AJ match because it was so unbelievable as well. But I know John and I could have done some magic, especially on the mic.
There is a match that you're a part of. This fact is crazy to me. So it's you and Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns and Undertaker at Extreme Rules 2019. It has 107 million views on the WWE YouTube channel.
It's wild.
That's Undertaker's last match in front of a crowd, right? You get to be part of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look at that fact. Undertaker's somebody, I've talked about this publicly in my book, My Chosen Destiny, still available now, where Vince put Undertaker in charge of me. You don't listen to anybody but the Undertaker. He's your mentor. I spent so many years with him, around him, learning from him, and to have his last match in front of a live audience was insane. Obviously, we didn't know that was the case at the time, but looking back, it's absolutely wild. And the match was coming off of the other match. It was a big disappointment. We don't have to mention what it was, but we know. And we really wanted to give Taker a match to remind everybody, who the Undertaker is, that he can still go. And we went out of our way to make sure that night that he was the Undertaker and back whole again. At the start, I got in his camera shot. I remember like Shane and I were in the ring, and I used to stand like this, chest up, shoulders back, and I felt like I always had to be the big tough guy. And I see people doing it now, and I'm like, relax. But it's easier for me to say because I Triple H in my ear every week going, relax. We know you're a big guy. You don't have to stand like this the entire time. Your money's here, body, loosey-goosey. You're blowing yourself up. But I was standing there waiting for him to come in the ring. I didn't realize I was in his camera shot. He's doing the whole presentation, taking off the jacket, getting ready for the hat. Looks at me, he's back the fuck up. And I went, oh. Got out of his camera shot. I didn't realize I was blocking his camera shot. So, that was my first, I'm like, so far, so bad. but the crowd were unreal. We were on first. The match was unreal. You could say whatever you want at the end for the tombstone, like being a little split second off, but there's something to things not going perfect in pro wrestling because in real fights, nothing goes perfect.
You are now the U.S. title away from being a Grand Slam champion.
Yep.
Sheamus is the Intercontinental Championship away from being Grand Slam champion.
Never heard him say that.
He never talks about it.
No. Yeah. I never heard that mentioned.
Who becomes Grand Slam champion first?
Oh, me, definitely. I've got no plan to do it. I don't know when it'll happen, but if he keeps talking about it, then they're just going to rip him and just give me the US title, even if I don't want to.
It's funny, though. Like, you're both one title away, and you're right. He mentions it just a little bit more than you.
It does mean a lot to him, and like he's achieved so much, and I really would love it. But yeah, if he gets driven, he lures his heart on his sleeve. And it's going to happen. It's just, it's hilarious how much it's been mentioned at this point. And I've not mentioned the US title, and it'll happen. And then I will make it a big deal, and I'll make it seem like I really cared so much about it. But
and then they'll replay this.
All I care about is the storylines being interesting. And if I've got 4 world titles now, or 1 world title, 3 WWE championships. That's what it's all about. It's the storytelling aspect of our business. I've already achieved everything I wanted to achieve. If we keep those stories going, the fans are interested. I'm good. If it happens, cool. If it doesn't, cool.
You're 25 years in. Do you have like an overarching way that you approach pro wrestling now?
No, not really. It's pretty much, obviously it's changed over the years, but the way I approach it now is just, okay, I see this going here and I think about it myself, and then I see what creative have got for me.
So it's story driven.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Outside the ring, obviously we talked about looking after myself, being physically able to do everything to the top of my game. And I've never felt better in a long time for that aspect, and looking the part, and what can I do to, at 40 years old now, like, wow, Drew's never looked at this before because I've just never tried before. But very much like what's the best way to tell this story and get the fans as invested as possible. Because as far as I'm concerned, if it ends up Jacob and I at WrestleMania, if it ends up Aldis and I somehow at WrestleMania, I don't care what the title matches are. As far as I'm concerned, we're still in that show, and it's going to be through the story. Then it's going to be through the banger match.
It's like what you're doing now. I feel like it doesn't feel like this isn't the guy that would have been sitting across from me 10 years ago.
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
Like
whiny little bitch. So yeah, it is. These people that are top, they weren't top themselves, they don't get it. I'm the man. I should have all the titles. Maybe not 10 years ago. That's more 15 years ago, Drew. When Cody and I won the tag titles, we were both laughing. There's a picture of us holding the titles in 2010. And we were so convinced in our heads, we should be fighting for the world title. This is silly, we're tag champions. That's how warped our views were at the time, rather than enjoy the journey. This is part of the journey of your young kids. We're really full of ourselves, actually, when I say it out loud.
That is funny when you think about it. So it's 2010, you guys win the tag titles, and you're thinking, man, we're ready for the main event now.
Yeah, I can't believe we're both not fighting for the world title. We're tag team champions. That's silly. Like, if we approached that in the right way, the mindset both of us have now, that could have been a legendary tag team and a legendary run. And
then look how long it took both of you guys to win the world title.
Yep. We had to get a few hard slaps in the head, like in a lot of ways, probably literally, and creatively, and, both of us have eaten banquets and banquets of crap to finally learn our lesson. I got fired. He had to, leave the company after, seeing what I was doing out there. I became a verb, my brother likes to say, to do a Drew, leave WWE, reinvent yourself, succeed. Then he left and did what he did and created a whole new place and stuff. And, it's very cool to see us both go in that journey, as much as I don't like the way he goes about things and wish he wasn't so corporate Cody about everything, because he is that good and he doesn't need it, but he still does it. Both of us have taken, the long way around and got what we've got to now, and both achieving massive success.
You guys are always the example of someone who leaves WWE, proves themselves, gets better, and comes back a completely different version. So what's the advice that you have for somebody who might be in that spot, who maybe got released or maybe left, that wants to step things up?
I mean, a lot of situations are kind of different, but there's a lot of similar advice, and the game's kind of changed slightly since 2014. I get asked all the time, I guess, like NXT literally tell people, look at what Drew did. And they come to me a lot and ask my opinion. And I always say, you got to get the reps in. Just keep yourself as busy as possible. Go to places with buzz. You're going to get a lot of offers to go to places that you're going to get a bigger paycheck. But then there's going to be no attention. It's going to be a small town America. If you're lucky enough to travel the world like I was and get these, bigger offers to wrestle in smaller towns, but do the pictures or whatever, like, no, where's got the buzz? Where's the attention right now? Where can you reinvent yourself and show the world, hey, in my head, I believed I could be this. Show them what you believe you could be and keep getting reps and get better on the mic and look at your presentation and what's going to separate you from everybody else in the game right now, because there's so much going on in the world of wrestling. And so much that's kind of similar. And I see so many guys, like especially in Scotland, I get sent tapes a lot from my buddies back there. Can you look at this kid or whatever? And I watch the match and I go, okay, they're trying to be AJ Styles. He just retired, but there is an AJ Styles. So they're trying to be, like a Ricochet or whatever. And I was okay, unless you're as good as these particular flyers, like a Dragon Lee, for example, then that's not going to be helpful. But what's going to make people emotionally care about you? Stop trying to be the next, whatever your favorite wrestler is. Just figure out what's going to separate me from everybody else out there. It's not going to be instant. You got to get those reps. You got to figure it out. Like me, you got to find your voice, because this is such a big part of it. Being able to present yourself verbally in a 52-week-a-year show is very, very important. But you've got to believe you are that person, because if you don't believe it, no one else will believe it. And the only way that's going to happen is reps. You've really stepped up your fashion game here. Thank you. Were you always a Jordan guy? I was not. I was forced into it. I was shamed into it, actually, to be exact. Shamed into it? Yeah. I was at Fanatics Fest, I believe, 2 years ago. I think it was the first big one WWE was involved with, if it was not the first one ever. I was on stage wearing a pair of Jordans, very comfortable, and I've got big, wide feet. Jordans are very comfortable. And I had two pairs. I remember one pair I was wearing, and Omos was a bit of a sneakerhead. He said, cool shoes. I went, thank you. I have no idea. Just comfortable. And I wore the other pair, the Fanatics Fest, and my buddy was looking at my social comments and told me, have you seen the comments by any chance? I was like, oh no, what are they saying? I assumed it said something silly. And they were like, no, they're talking about your shoes and you cannot afford pair of Jordans, or shaming me for the shoes I was wearing. And I looked out, oh my God, it's like every comment. It wasn't just a few. It was, I wouldn't even exaggerate to say a couple of hundred in a row. What was wrong with your shoes? Apparently it was the wrong kind of Jordans. I couldn't even guess off the top of my head what it was. You would know if I said it, like something ring, 5 ring or some crap. I don't know, 6 ring, but the wrong pair of Jordans I was wearing that day. And I was horribly shamed. And I went into a store with my wife and I said, young man, come here. He probably was much younger than me, to be honest. And I was like, learn me the shoe game. Drew McIntyre needs a better shoe game. Drew Galloway, whatever the hell, I'll wear whatever. I wear shorts and t-shirt half the time. I've got Gentleman's Playbook that are keeping me looking good in LA. But with the shoe game, I need some help. And he got me started. And I kind of half-assed know what's going on now. I get on the old StockX and I see something I like and I go, ooh, I'll get those. I got these on StockX. Yeah, I got a lot of them on StockX. Yeah, me too. I'll see something I like and I'll get it now. And then I'll double check with your man at Gentleman's Playbook, Tom. You're welcome. And so that's how I stepped up my game. I was shamed into it. I wear a lot of Drew McIntyre needed a bag. I don't care. Again, real life, I don't care. But we're in a very visual game. There's a lot of eyes outside the company on us, and I understand. Make sure Drew McIntyre looks the part. Like you're representing the company. Like I look different. I'm 6'5". I look the way a wrestler, and people imagine their head look like falling out of Game of Thrones. But I got people going, wow, he looks the part. They don't get paid any money. What's wrong with shoes? I wear a lot of these are Jordan 4s. I wear a lot of 4s and 3s. Just they're so comfortable. Oh yeah, I don't know a lot about them, but they're comfortable. Yeah, they're very comfortable. I spent years wearing the wrong size shoe for one. I thought it was a 13 for years and years and years. But and I was like, God, my feet just crammed in here. And Ginger told me, you get wide set shoes. But I did not know that. So I finally started wearing wide set 13s, and I was like, yeah, it's still more comfortable. Just, I guess this is the way it's supposed to be. As a kid, I always wore the same size shoe. I'd never been into a shoe store, I guess, since I was really young, and I must have had some kind of foot spurt along with my second puberty I had. And then I found out I'm actually just a little bigger than 14, and you're really abnormally wide feet, and Jordans are the only things that are comfortable, basically. How's actually, I want to ask you this one. What is a match that nobody asks you about that you think more people should talk about? I don't think more people would talk about this one just because of the nature of the time during the pandemic, but a match that I'm very proud of. I want to say it was Fastlane right before WrestleMania when we first had the crowd back in limited capacity in Tampa. But it was myself and Sheamus. We'd been going hard, hoping to get the Mania match, the singles match that year. And I think I did myself and Lashley. I was in a big feud with Lashley at the time. but we had ourselves a false count anywhere match, no holds barred match. And right before the match, we'd been talking about our history, and they didn't really want to go deep into the history of our story. And for some reason, right before the match, they had this build-up video that was like our 20-year history knowing each other, old pictures together, and all the stuff we talked about. We're like, huh. They just surprised us with it, and we went out there and battled each other as we always do. And I had the Braveheart war paint on. I threw Sheamus through some screens that were sparking everywhere. We battled each other for real. You could hear every punch. I was hitting him in the head like it was harder to hit anybody. I've never punched anyone that hard in a fight. Mom used to always tell me, you're bigger than all the other kids. You're going to kill somebody, you'll end up in jail. So I was always funny about hitting people, not him. Hit him as hard as I possibly can every single time. And he just laughs and says, hit me harder. So very proud of that match. And eventually we had the chance to basically have a singles match at Mania with myself, himself, and Wally Gunther had the triple threat.
What a match that is.
Oh yeah, something I'm so proud of. I think I've mentioned it before. Like the one thing, like a nitpick, is the beginning. I went for the Claymore, but Gunther, the style of wrestler he is, he kind of here and went out the ring, didn't catch the Claymore flush, so he wasn't unconscious and down. So that's part of the storytelling. He goes out and he's able to go, okay, he didn't get knocked out. Ooh, gotta watch that. He watches, picks his spot. It's all very logical why that happened. In the rest of the match, you can poke a hole through if you tried. I remember at one point that This Is Awesome was going to give me 50 beats, and I was like, you guys have no idea what's coming. Because then Gunther was out the ring for 15 minutes. Then we had our singles match we always dreamed of, and then that was on us because the smart heel on the outside went, idiots, slid in and knocked us both down, pinned us once he saw the opportunity. So yeah, we finally did, have our singles match within that triple threat match, which is also one of my favorites.
Well, great to see you. Thank you for making this happen in Nashville. We've been talking about having like a long sit down like this for
years, possibly.
Years.
Yeah, literally years.
Not to take away from the match or the match, the verbal match here. Not to take away from the conversation we had for the Killers game, but like, it wasn't the same.
No. It's not just a relaxed environment. It's one interview after another, and we're focused on something particular. Just
I was probably
chat,
your
hanging out.
40th interview that day. All your other interviews.
The most fun one though.
Thank you. All your other interviews were 4 or 5 minutes, and then I got you for like 40-ish, I think. It was supposed to be an hour, and then they were like, is it okay if you just do 40 with him?
Oh, really? It must have been later on then they were trying to do me a favor. I would have done whatever.
And I'm like,
with yourself, we're just having a laugh talking. I'm just trying not to say anything that's going to get me a phone call right after, but I know you don't do that stuff, thank God. Because I've been better recently, right? I've not been causing drama, headlines, I don't
know.
Drew McIntyre doesn't stormed out of any arenas or anything. I've been reading on the internet recently.
Depends what you put on X next,
if anybody pushes me enough, and I welcome it. It sells tickets, it gets attention, real. Making people feel like it's real. And if it is actually real, like what happened to me in Punk, I'm waiting for the next person to come at me and go, you know what, Drew? I don't care if you like me. Bang, 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 and nail me with some stuff, and I'll be like, I'm going to talk crap to you, and I'm going to beat your ass in the ring, and the people are going to love it.
So fair to say you're not bored at work anymore?
I'm not. No, it's too exciting right now. I have to be bored at work, but WrestleMania is around the corner, so I got to keep the run going. I've tweeted 2 years in a row now, broken all kinds of records. Be a shame if I didn't this year.
How's everyone? How's everyone at home? How are the cats?
It's not great news there. Obviously, not surprising me. I did say you can ask about everybody, so it's very difficult to talk about. But the family are good. Everyone's coming for Mania. But we lost Chaz.
I'm so sorry.
It sucks. He was our boy, and he had long-term liver disease for a long time, and finally we knew it's getting to the point he's going to be gone soon. We had the pads down in the house, and he was going to the bathroom outside of them, but he was still lying with us and purring, and we just knew the end was close, and it really sucked. Like, we'd lap of love come out and tried to do it like in the house to make it a little easier. It was not easier. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. There's one thing I'll never make fun of Punk for. When Larry was gone, my heart broke for him and AJ. Because those little guys are just full of love and nothing else. But we've not posted about it because we just can't bear ourselves to talk about it. So it's the first time I've talked about it, and I don't care about getting emotional on camera. It really hurts that bad, and I miss the little guy, and miss him forever.
So sorry. Loss is never easy.
No, especially with pets. You lose your family and friends, it freaking sucks.
And they're always there for
you can talk to your friends about your mates and stuff. I can't remember that time he was an idiot and he done this stupid crap and pissed us off, and you laugh with your mates, but dogs and cats and the likes, they're just full of love, and
they're so loyal.
Yeah, especially if you earn the trust. Like, dogs are there, give you that love all the time. But cats, if you earn the trust of a cat, there's nothing like it. They're like a partner, and he was her emotional support buddy for 14 years.
Oh, wow. You know that I end every conversation with gratitude because it's such a huge part of my life, focusing on the things that I have. My wife and I say out loud 3 things we're grateful for before we go to bed every night. Fair to say that's probably one of the things you're grateful for.
Yeah.
But what are 3 things you're grateful for today, Drew?
I'm grateful for the wife. I'm grateful for, I guess, health, in the world we live in. And I'm grateful for Chaz. All the memories.
Love it. Thank you again for making the time to do this. Thank you for being so open, so honest.
Yeah, always. Appreciate it. I grew up in front of the world on camera. I'd be a shame if I suddenly shut down. Everybody knows all my shit. A lot of it negative, but hopefully some positive.